It's stage 2 of this year's Dakar rally, but if you missed stage 1, go back and check it out. It was a bruiser. Last year's winner on the bikes, Sam Sunderland, already out after coming off the bike just 50 kilometres in. And while Carlos Sainz leads the car category, Nasser Al-Attiyah had a shocker and has got some serious work to do today. So, what's in store? Well, it's the first big move of the year. The competitors leaving C-Camp behind and are racing towards Alula. But between the two bivouacs lies 430 kilometres of rough desert racing, tricky navigation and tough terrain between the canyons. It was a 7:30 a.m. start today for Stage 1 winner Ricky Brabeck. First in means no lines to follow in the sand, and his navigational skills were really put to the test, but by 150 kilometres in, he was over 8 minutes down. Dakar debutant Michael Doherty set the early pace, the South African leading at the 186-kilometre mark but dropped away towards the end. Instead, Daniel Sanders looked like he was going to take the stage win, but deliberately dropped back in the final 40 kilometres, giving way to Californian young gun and genuine prospect for a podium this year, 21-year-old Mason Klein, marking his first ever overall stage victory on the Dakar, ahead of Sebastian Buehler on the Hero machine, with Skylar Howe's Husqvarna in third.
I didn't know that I was leading overall. That's pretty cool. I always wanted to win a stage, and today, starting third, somehow winning the stage, it's pretty unbelievable. Like, it's so, I don't know how to feel, you know? It's all new to me.
In the cars, who remembers this from the prologue stage? Eric Van Loon sticking his Toyota on its roof. Well, today he repaid all the hard work from the Toyota Overdrive crew to repair the car. He led the majority of the stage, only losing time at the end to eventually finish second. Instead, Nasser Al-Attiyah and the sister Hilux put in a banger of a drive, fighting back after a difficult stage 1 to win today. Carlos Sainz, though, remaining consistent. He went third quickest today and retains his overall lead of the rally.
I'm happy, you know, because I need to make a good time today, because otherwise we are start to lose. Yesterday, except the problem where we lose the time, but okay, today we again, and I'm quite happy.
In the quads, the France versus Argentina battle rages on. Alexandre Giraud leading by just 21 seconds at kilometre 150, but by kilometre 269, Manuel Andújar had caught and passed his rival. Giraud, though, wasn't having any of it and slammed the hammer down in the final 50 kilometres to take the stage win, while Andújar dropped over 7 minutes. America's Pablo Capetti finished second, but Giraud now holds a commanding lead. Here are the Stage 2 results from the bikes, cars and quads. And here are the overall standings. Before we get into the action from today's lightweight category, tipped as hot favourite for a win this year is America's Seth Quintero, but this fella likes his sleep, so he gave us a tour of his fancy Dakar digs.
What up guys, Seth Quintero. I'm gonna give you a little tour of the camper for 2023 Dakar. Dennis is in my camper, so it might be a little dirty. It's a dirty one. So this is the camper. First off, we got the race locker. This is just kind of where I store all my gear. I actually got a golf club back there somewhere, but you know, throw the helmet up here, nice and organized. We got some pretty cool stuff in here actually. I got a bathrobe. I'm not much of a bathrobe guy, but this thing is sick with my name on it. It's dope. We'll go over to Dennis' side first. We got a mess, backpack, Red Bull, water, hats. What's Dennis' bed looking like? Oh, nasal spray, phone, TV. Sick photo of Dennis, dude. Dope. Little kitchen. Snack door number 1. Snack door number 2. What else? Bathroom. So Dennis's favorite band is the Backstreet Boys, for those of you who don't know. Boom! Backstreet Boys. Boom! Dennis. Boom! Us. little shower, but problem is too tall for the shower, so that's cool. A little dark in here, huh? Come over here, you know, spare race gear, fridge that has absolutely nothing in it. Come over here, this is my bed. Nothing up here, bed's not made, there's a hat. But yeah, that's been my camper. There's not a lot to it. That was my camper. Thanks for tuning in. It's a mess. I apologize, but it's gonna get even dirtier. We'll see you at Dakar.
In today's stage, it was a steady run for Quintero. He has a strategy this year to take it easy on the first week and then push on the second. Nevertheless, he finished third today. Day 1 stage winner Francisco Lopez Contado led the majority of today's test, but dropped off the pace in the final 100 kilometres, leaving Mitch Guthrie Jr. to reel him in and steal the win by over a minute. But it's still Chaleco who leads the class overall. In the trucks, Martin Maciek, the favourite for today's stage win, ran into trouble just after the 150 kilometre mark, and by 269 he had dropped an hour and a half. Instead, it was the Team De Roy truck of Janus van Kasteren who took top honours today. Here are the Stage 2 results from the lightweight class and the trucks. And here are the overall standings after 2 stages of this year's Dakar Rally. Motorsport can be so cruel, and losing a car to fire is pretty much as bad as it gets. But for it to happen just a few kilometres into the first stage is heartbreaking. That's the fate that befell Michel Kramer and Thomas Dubois yesterday. The car lost in a fiery inferno, and their Dakar dream was over. And so, another savage day on the Dakar comes to an end. Saudi Arabia's stunning desert landscape will batter the best and bravest again tomorrow for another day's racing. We leave Alula behind and continue the journey east to Hail for a series of loop stages. Congratulations, Mason Klein, on your first Dakar stage win. Opening the stage tomorrow, though, will be tough. Navigation, he says, is his strength. How will he fare? Join us on Dakar Daily to find out. Stage 3 of this year's Dakar Rally, and we've left the stunning Saudi Arabian coastline well and truly behind, and we're continuing the adventure east from Alula to Hail. The road into this minor city is perhaps the most testing of the Dakar so far, a mixture of rough and rocky trails with big dunes. Another 447 kilometres of special stage to tackle today, with 223 on top of that as road section. The competitors are in for a shock though. The weather has closed in. The second half of the stage is wet, and that rain has washed rocks and fresh debris onto the stage. Mason Klein looking fresh and up for the challenge this morning. His navigational skills being properly tested. A top 10 finish today would be a great result. Setting the pace though was Aussie rider Daniel Sanders, aka Chucky, and he was ripping it up, sending a message to the rest of the bivouac by leading from start to finish and taking the overall lead of the rally.
Yeah, it was a very little technical start there. We had a lot of deep, soft sand with a lot of stone in it through all these valleys, so it was quite interesting. I felt pretty bad at the beginning, and then I started to catch a couple of riders, and I thought, okay, I win the stage and try and catch the guys up front, and it worked out really well. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting one tomorrow.
7 minutes further back came Kevin Benavides, but his consistency is paying off, third overall. Sadly though, last year's runner-up Ricky Brabec crashed heavily on his Honda, and he is out of this year's Dakar Rally. Back with Mason Klein, he went 6th fastest and lies second in the overall standings. But ride of the day goes to Matthias Walkner. Yesterday, he came off the bike at 120 kilometres an hour. After a broken bone in his wrist and several stitches, anyone else would have stopped. But in true Dakar spirit, he refused to give up. Got up this morning, got on the bike, and incredibly went 11th fastest. The car category has been blown wide open today. Overall leader Carlos Sainz ran into mechanical issues and dropped nearly an hour, and that has made a big dent in his and Audi's aspirations for victory this year. Nasser Al-Attiyah didn't fare much better, 13th fastest and 21 minutes down after also struggling with early mechanical issues. Meanwhile, Sebastian Loeb, who was already on the back foot after stage 2, was also stopped today with rear left suspension damage, and 35 minutes were lost repairing his BRX Hunter. Hopes of that long-awaited first Dakar title slipping away. Instead, it was Gulen Shishiri who took the stage win today. A great drive from the Frenchman, who kept it all together to finish ahead of Henk Lattigen's Toyota Hilux. As the weather conditions continued to deteriorate, it was decided for the safety of the competitors to bring today's racing to an early end. Those who had already finished kept their time from today. The others who had not crossed the finish line were given a nominal time. In the quads, Manuel Andiyar was leading up until kilometre 240, but then stopped for over 30 minutes, leaving Alexander Giraud clear out in front to win the stage, and more importantly than that, build his overall rally lead. So, here are the results from today's stage. And here are the overall standings after stage 3. Matthias Walkner proved today how tough you have to be to take on the Dakar, and one of the toughest around is Australia's Toby Price. Despite over 30 broken bones and 45 surgeries, he still has 2 Dakar wins under his belt. They don't come tougher than this fella, so here is 60 seconds with Pricey.
Prefer sand. 2-wheel still. Got to take the motor home for sure. Yeah, you got to look after the mullet, mate. You got mullet care. You got to look after it. Petrol all the way. Petrol still. I've had no hair transplants, but I know somebody has. Sammy Sunderland.
Got in for a couple of times.
He's got it a couple of times, and then he decides to cut it off. I don't know why. Clown. Both. Sit on the lounge. KTM for sure. Sam. South America. Trust my mechanic. Early riser. Chin to the tin, mate. Let that mullet flap.
Back to the action then, and in the lightweight class, disaster struck overall leader Francisco Lopez Contado and Cristina Gutierrez. Both lost over an hour stuck in this river crossing, eventually relying on the passing trucks to stop and pull them free. Instead, last year's winner, Austin Jones, now in the Red Bull Off-Road Junior team, took his first stage win of the year. Leading from start to finish, he dominated today to finish ahead of Seth Quintero, but it's Quintero who now leads overall. There's a long way to go, but he's on course for his first Dakar win. And finally, in the trucks, after a dismal stage 2, Martin Maciek began his fight back today. He won the stage by over 4 minutes, but with such a massive time loss yesterday, his hopes of victory remain slim. Here are the stage results from the lightweight and truck categories. And here are the overall standings after stage 3. Before we go, check this out for a mad moment. Stage 2, and this is Miroslav Zaplatal in his Ford Ranger attempting to negotiate a rocky drop, and it all went a bit wrong. You've got to love that determination though. The thing lands on its wheels, he slaps it into gear and tries to keep going. Unfortunately, the rear left suspension and drive shaft didn't survive the crash. The 2023 Dakar is just getting tougher and tougher as each day passes, and with the rain due to continue all night, tomorrow's loop stage promises to be a whole new challenge. Everyone will return to Hail after 577 kilometres in total, and we'll be right here on Dakar Daily to bring you all the very best action. Stage 4 of Dakar 2023, and the conditions continued to deteriorate overnight. The storm has now passed, but the rain has completely changed the profile of the stage, and everyone needs to be at their absolute best to get back to Hail tonight without problems. It's going to be a massive test for everyone. So here's what's in store. 152 kilometres of road section today with 425 of competitive special stage. The first 100 kilometres are deep in the dunes, some of the biggest we'll see this year in fact, followed by sandy tracks on the road back to the bivouac. Yesterday's winner in the bikes, Daniel Sanders, was always going to lose time riding out front today, but he did a good job to eventually finish the stage 8th, and he remains as overall leader on the factory gas.
Had to open today, and I haven't really done any opening of road books for a very long time since last Dakar, so it was really tricky navigation, and then it was just a lot of the rain last night washed away the track, so I pretty much had to make my own track and make sure my navigation was good.
The only stage that KTM's Toby Price has won this year has been the prologue, but he's been consistently banging in top 6 times. It's all about being clever and finishing the stage low enough in the standings to not be first on the road and risk big navigational time losses the following day, but high enough to stay within reach of the overall win. So far, Pricey has played it just right. He currently lies 5th overall and still well in contention for a Dakar victory. On only his second Dakar, Mason Klein looked set to take another stage win, but in the final 50 kilometres he picked up a mechanical problem on the bike and lost over 12 minutes. Instead, it was Johan Barreda-Bort who set the pace today, topping the timesheets just 16 seconds quicker than Pablo Quintanilla. A good day for Honda. In the cars, the battle was raging between Sebastian Loeb in his BRX Hunter and Stefan Petterhansel in the electric Audi. Both were chasing their first stage win of 2023. At 327 kilometres, Loeb held the advantage by just 25 seconds and extended that to 54 at 378 kilometres. By the finish line, the Frenchman had done enough to take the stage win, but remains an hour and a half off the overall lead after issues on day 1 and 2.
I pushed really hard from the start to the end, but I lost the power steering at 20 kilometers from the end. So we had to finish very slowly the stage. I couldn't keep the car on the road. We nearly crashed a few times because I couldn't turn the steering wheel.
Nasser Al-Attiyah spent his day once again battling with his old nemesis Carlos Sainz, but it's the Qatari who remains as overall leader of this year's rally. Alexandre Giraud continued his domination of the quad category today. Another stage win, making it 3 in a row. There is a long, long way to go in this year's Dakar, but Giraud is looking unstoppable. He now has a commanding overall lead in the class and faces a personal decision to either ease up and protect that lead or keep the rhythm, keep pushing and keep taking stage wins. After a long day in the dunes, here are the results from today's stage. And here are the overall standings from the bikes, cars and quads. Ask anyone on the Dakar what the toughest class is and they will respond, Malimoto. These amateur rally raid riders turn up for the Dakar armed with a toolbox, a tent and their motorbike. That's it. They ride and engineer the bike themselves and they race all the same stages as the factory teams. It is the ultimate adventure, but it's properly brutal.
There's a number of times in the day I think why I even decided to do this.
Just rode about 220K in just absolute thunderstorms and rain.
Just been so cold for so long, and I was wet before we even started riding.
And if you look at these conditions, you come back and you want to just go have a hot shower, but you can't, you've got to work on your bike, so.
Riding the number 39 bike this year is Malimoto legend Benjamin Mello, and here are his 5 top tips for surviving the category.
Tip number 1, don't waste your time turning around the bivouac and save energy for next days. Tip number 2, take care of your bike and ride smart. Tip number 3, get advices from other experienced riders. Tip number 4, be organized. And the tip number 5, hydration and nutrition, very important.
Back out on the stage, and it was a shocker today for overall leader in the T3 lightweight class, Seth Quintero. He stopped with suspected hub or bearing failure on his Can-Am. After recovering the wheel, he and co-driver Dennis Zenz set to repairing the damage, and although they managed to get going again, by kilometre 211 and waypoint 5, they dropped over 1 hour. Quintero now needs a bit more than luck to take the title on this year's Dakar. Instead, it was his teammate Mitch Guthrie who took stage honours today. It marks his second stage win this year after topping the timesheets on stage 2 as well. That means after Quintero's disaster, Guthrie now leads the class from Guillaume de Mavius. And in the truck category, Martin Maciek was on course to make it his 4th stage win of the year in the Iveco Powerstar. Here are the stage results for the lightweights and trucks. And here are the overall standings in both categories. Check this out for a rider's eye view of some Dakar madness. Here is Maki Rees-Stavros getting fired off his bike. It was a rough ride, but Maki was all good. A few bruises and this military man jumped up, picked up his bike, threw his leg over and cracked on to eventually finish the stage in 76th place. That is what the Dakar is all about. Seth Quintero's Dakar has been turned upside down today. You can guarantee he's going to be flat out on every single remaining stage to try and claw this one back. It's another loot stage tomorrow from Hail with 649 kilometres to cover in total, and it's sand, sand, sand. One thing is for sure, the Dakar will throw up plenty of surprises.
You can run, but you can't hide. Don't fight it, just be there. One chance, you got one life. Don't fight it, just be there. With the pedal to the metal, rubber to the track, will you bet your life that it all back? I want everything, everything. Hell yes, no less than everything.
It's proven to be a seriously testing Dakar rally this year. The stages have already had a stern word with the world's best. It's been a bruiser, and it's only stage 5 today. Another 694 kilometres in total. It's a big day and it's fast. Wide open expanses will test the grit of those prepared to take a risk and lean on their machine just that little bit more. Big wins on offer, but it can all go wrong very quickly. In the bikes, Toby Price held the early lead but backed off for the second half of the stage for a good start position tomorrow. It's a strategy that's paying off perfectly. Consistency is the key, and he currently lies second overall, just over 2 minutes off the lead. Daniel Sanders struggled today, dropping nearly 27 minutes and losing the overall lead of the rally. Instead, winning today's stage was Adrian Van Beveren on the Honda. A great ride from the French sand specialist. He's up to 5th overall. But your new leader in the bikes, America's Skylar Howes on the Husqvarna. A good ride too from Kevin Benavides. He lies 3rd overall after picking up penalties today. The top 4, incredibly, separated by just over 6 minutes after 2,046 kilometres of racing.
And this was really physically demanding. Most of the entire special we were standing up just through camel grass, really physical on the body. But yeah, today was difficult because the rain and wind has washed away all the tracks, so you really had to stay precise.
There's been nothing to choose between the top 3 on stage in the cars today. By 182 kilometres, they were covered by 7 seconds, and it was Sebastian Loeb who was leading the group. Fast forward to kilometre 234, and now Nasser Al-Attiyah was at the top with Loeb 22 seconds back and Stefan Petterhansel 9 seconds further adrift in 3rd. While they were all racing flat out, further back, multiple winner in the bike category, Laia Sands, sadly saw her Dakar come to an abrupt end. A big off, and she will go no further this year. Back in the fight for the stage win, and Carlos Sainz had now joined the party, going on to eventually finish 2nd, while Loeb crashed. That left Al-Attiyah to take the stage victory and extend his overall lead in the cars to over 20 minutes.
We try really to push like crazy, you know. We take a lot of risk, you know, after the decision of yesterday. I am happy to finish today without any problems, and we'll see.
In the quads, Alexandre Giraud eased off the pace today. He has such a commanding lead overall that he can afford to drop some time now. Instead, Francisco Marino Flores took his first stage win of the year. Here are the results from today's stage in the bikes, cars and quads. And here are the overall standings after stage 5. Cristina Gutierrez is one of Spain's elite exports. She's been around cars and motorsport all her life and arrived here at the Dakar as one of the favourites for the overall win in the lightweight class. After taking victory on the prologue, her rally took a cold and wet turn when she got stuck in the river crossing on stage 3. But you can never count her out. So here is 60 seconds with Cristina Gutierrez.
Gravel. 4. Motorhome. Hybrid. Petrol. Cable ties. Go for a ride. South America. Lightweights. Cars. Driver. Fixing teeth. Trust your mechanics. Early rising. Foot to the floor.
Back out on stage, and Seth Quintero's 2023 Dakar campaign suffered a major blow yesterday, and now all he can do is go flat out to try and salvage any chance of victory. He did exactly that today to win the stage, but it's still Guillaume de Mavius who leads overall. And finally, in the trucks, the stage was dominated today by class leader Alain Lepre in the stunning Praga. And let's face it, everyone loves the truck category. These 1,000 brake horsepower monsters defy physics and often gravity here at the Dakar. But they run last on the road, which means they arrive at the bivouac late and we miss out on a lot of the action. So here are just some of the best shots of the trucks doing what they do best. Before we go, here are the Stage 5 results from the lightweights and trucks. And here are the overall standings. After two loop stages that have turned this year's Dakar on its head, we now leave Hail behind and, in a change to the schedule, miss out the Al Dawadami bivouac as a result of bad weather and head straight for capital city Riyadh. We'll have more news on that tomorrow as the 2023 Dakar Rally races on. Big news in this year's Dakar Rally. Stage 6 today should have been the trip from Hail to Al Dawadami, but it's underwater. Enormous amounts of rain flooded the bivouac, and so a new route from Hail to Riyadh has been penned for today. A mammoth 918 kilometres in total, marking the longest day of this year's rally. Starting out in the sunshine of Hail and heading towards the wet, grey clouds covering Riyadh. 358 kilometres are made up of competitive racing, taking in dunes and sandy trails scattered with camel grass. But an enormous 560 kilometres of road section to complete to arrive in Riyadh. In the bikes, it's been a good day for Husqvarna. Luciano Benavides taking his first stage win of the year, 56 seconds clear of his teammate Skylar Howes, marking a Husky 1-2 today. For Howes, he was already leading overall, and today there was no messing from the American, second fastest. Toby Price continuing his consistent run this year, third today, and remains second overall, now just 3.5 minutes off the lead.
Yeah, a little bit sore in the back from the crash, but so yeah, just nice and easy today and made sure it was all good. So yeah, there's plenty more to go yet.
If Skylar Howes and Toby Price can nail their navigation on tomorrow's stage and not lose too much time, these fellas are both well in the hot seat for this year's Dakar victory. Elsewhere, after a nasty off yesterday, Joan Barreda bounced back big time. This guy is as tough as nails. He went fourth fastest and remains fourth overall. The cars now, and the worst has happened for Audi. Teammates Stefan Petterhansel and Carlos Sainz both crashing in the same place today. It marks retirement for Petter Hansel, who was leading the stage. His co-driver Edouard Boulanger taken to hospital with back pain, while Sainz is awaiting technical assistance before hopefully carrying on. With Matthias Ekstrom in the third Audi, an hour and a half off the overall lead, any chances of even a podium for the German manufacturer are now looking slim. Instead, it was Nasser Al-Attiyah who took another stage win today, making it 2 in a row and 3 in total. And with the exit of Petter Hansel and Yazid Al-Raji, who stopped with mechanical problems, Nasser now holds a lead of over an hour back to Toyota teammate Henk Lattigan.
Yeah, it's very tough stage, not easy, and I think, yes, we are first, and good job. I'm happy, and thank also for Matti. He did a good job navigation, and yeah, I'm quite happy.
In the quads, Manuel Andayar took the stage win today, the Argentinian leading from start to finish. Had he not had those mechanical issues on day 3, he would have been right in the fight. Instead, Alexandre Giraud continues to lead overall after finishing second fastest today. Here are the results for the bikes, cars and quads after stage 6. And here are the overall standings so far in this year's Dakar Rally. They are the unsung heroes of the Dakar, the best mechanics in the world, all coming together to take on the toughest race in the world. But who knows their toolbox best? We sent the Can-Am mechanics on a cheeky little tool hunt.
Bruno, race mechanic. Edgar, race mechanic. My chef finish. My chef finish. Say dat de chef finish. Okay, I have one. Dit is wel tegen. Ah, jag får bli. Ah, camera. 21. Okay, come on.
Those guys are the best in the business, and it's been the South Racing Run Red Bull Can-Ams that were dominating this year's Dakar in the lightweight class, right up until Seth Quintero lost a wheel and ran out of fuel on stage 4. He currently lies a distant third overall. Instead, it's Belgium's Guillaume de Mavius who continues to lead the class 9 minutes clear of last year's winner, Austin Jones. It's game on though, Jones continuing to keep up the pressure. And finally, in the trucks, today it was a close-fought fight all stage long between the Ivecos of Janus van Kasteren and Mitchell van den Brink. Van Kasteren had the upper hand right up until the final 60 kilometres when Van den Brink got the hammer down to win his first stage of this year's Dakar. Here are today's results for the lightweights and trucks. And the overall standings after stage 6. The weather here in Riyadh has been gnarly as you like. Check out what our camera crew faced this morning. It was slow progress through the floods, but they made it and the cameras keep on rolling. And that's good news because it means Dakar Daily is back again tomorrow, and in a change to the route, the competitors will head from capital city Riyadh to the Al Dawadami bivouac. There will be a 2-hour assistance stop at 94 kilometres into the stage to service the vehicles before the riders and drivers race on to the finish line and then stay in Al Dawadami tomorrow night. 713 kilometres to complete, and the race is on between Skylar Howes and Toby Price in the bikes. Who'll come out on top? We'll find out tomorrow. Stage 7 and the Dakar Rally continues to bite. Yesterday, the rain surrounding Riyadh was savage. While the stage was dry, the road section was cold, wet and dark. Many competitors didn't find their way back to the bivouac until 3 a.m. this morning. They were then due to leave for today's stage at 4:30 a.m. On safety grounds, this was just not an option. As a result, the bikes and quads have been cancelled today, and both categories will take the road section straight to the Al Dawadami bivouac and resume racing tomorrow. It's been a great rally so far for America's Skylar Howes on the Husqvarna. He currently leads the bike category by just under 2 minutes from Toby Price's KTM. Kevin Benavides lies third, 7 minutes off the lead. The race in the bike category this year has been action-packed non-stop, and tomorrow's stage, the final before the rest day, will be massive for Howes. Alexander Giraud has bagged himself 4 stage wins so far this year in the quads. There was nothing between him and 2021 winner Manuel Andayar at the start of the rally. But Andayar lost massive time with mechanical issues, and since then Giraud has been in a league of his own. Here are the current overall standings in the bikes and quads. The bikes and quads might not be running, but the cars, lightweights and trucks are out and at it today. 861 kilometres in total, with 333 of those race action. The weather has improved, but the sand remains wet, and that can help those following behind. The lines cut into the landscape are more obvious to follow. The cars kicking off the action, which meant Nasser Al-Attiyah and co-driver Mathieu Baumel would have their navigational prowess tested today. No lines to follow from the bikes or quads, so Baumel needed to be at the top of his game. They dropped 19 minutes today, but with a lead of over an hour, it's no real issue. A good start position tomorrow, and they'll be looking to capitalise.
The stages was very tough, not easy. We opened all the way, but the last part we get a little bit lost, you know, and then Sab and Shishari was front, and we try to pass everybody, you know, to finish first car, but we know we was very slow, and I think we'll be around 5 or 6 position today. It's good for tomorrow.
After a shocker yesterday, the woes continued today for Audi. Matthias Ekstrom stopped in the stage after hitting a rock and ripping the rear left suspension off his RSQ e-tron. Instead, it was local hero Yazid Al-Raji who took the stage win today. On the podium last year, he was hoping to go one better in 2023, but his mechanical problems yesterday have taken him out of the fight. For now, it's just all about notching up those stage wins.
We push, we start far away and not easy to overtake the car, but we push sometime right, left. But finally, I think we do a very great job today.
The Dakar Rally attracts inspirational characters from all over the world. Alia Kolok is not only the youngest competitor, she's also a land speed record holder, races GTs and single-seaters, as well as FIA Middle Eastern Cup champion. She's now taking on her first Dakar, and despite it being a rough ride at times, Alia is still smiling. Her goal is to spread a positive message to everyone in sport.
It's really cool to be here. I was dreaming to do Dakar and preparing for a while. So here in Bagheera ZM Racing, we have a very big team this year. It's the biggest we had with 4 trucks and 2 Can-Ams. It's really nice to have a big support.
Go. Come on, Red.
Equality, respect, diversity is important to us because we experience a lot of these uncomfortable situations. We had enough. So with our team, we started a campaign and to inspire and hopefully stop these comments from happening to young girls and anybody really of color, that if you want to race or do anything you want, that you can do it without anybody saying otherwise. One of the stages, I got to fight with Cristina Gutierrez. We were going side by side for quite a while, and then I got in front of her, actually, which was really cool because I look up to her because she's a female in motorsport and she's so high, beating all the guys is really nice to see. So getting to race her is one of the highlights for sure. Next year I should start testing T1, which is really cool, and planning to do another Dakar.
Alia just wants to get to the finish this year, and today was a good day. She managed 19th overall in the lightweight class. Up at the front, and it was another stage win for Mitch Guthrie, the American putting in another solid drive, finishing nearly 2 minutes quicker than veteran and 3 times winner of the Dakar, Francisco Lopez Contado. But continuing to hold the overall lead is Belgium's Guillaume de Mavius from America's Austin Jones. In the trucks, after battling with Mitchell van den Brink yesterday, Janus van Kasteren bounced back today in his Iveco. The Flying Dutchman winning the stage by nearly 4 minutes. He lies 3rd overall, just over 20 minutes off the lead. And that belongs to the Praga machine of Alain Lepre, but Van den Brink is just minutes behind. And sticking with the trucks, check this out. It's not uncommon to see one of these monsters on its side out in the desert, and the only way to get them back on all 4 wheels is with the help of another truck. So here is Claudio Bellina coming to the rescue of Igor Bowens. But then there are times where you're just left waiting, when there's no one around to get you back on all 4s, as Ben van der Laar found out today. Here are the Stage 7 results from the cars, lightweights and trucks. And here are the overall standings. Tomorrow, the competitors leave the Al Dawadami bivouac and head back to team base here in capital city Riyadh for a well-earned rest day. No one wants to retire at this stage, but 822 kilometres stand in their way. The bikes and quads are back in action. Can Toby Price reel in Skylar House to lead going into week 2? Join us on Dakar Daily to find out. It's the last stage before the Dakar Rally takes a well-earned break. So far we've covered nearly 5,700 kilometres and we're only halfway through. We have endured 35-degree heat, lashing rain, the world's toughest terrain, and for those remaining, today's 822-kilometre run from Al Dawadami back up to Riyadh is a major milestone in their Dakar. 346 kilometres of flat-out racing today, with the majority of the stage consisting of soil and sand dunes. No one wants to retire just before the rest day and the opportunity to make any major repairs to both themselves and their machine. Yesterday, the bikes were cancelled, so the riders enjoyed a bit of downtime before getting back at it again today. And everyone was absolutely flat out, looking to end week one with a strong result and move up the leaderboard. Mason Klein started 12th on the road, and by kilometre 147, he was leading the stage 22 seconds clear of Botswana's Ross Branch. Overall leader Skylar Howes made a good start but dropped time in the second half of today's stage. He finished 17th. The question was, could he hang on to the overall lead? Well, Klein was ripping and looked set to move to the top of the leaderboard. But he picked up penalties for speeding and that cost him. Which means it is Skylar Howes who leads overall, but can you believe this? After nearly 6,000 kilometres, his advantage is just 13 seconds clear of Kevin Benavides and Mason Klein, who are joint second. Meanwhile, your stage winner today was Ross Branch, marking his first stage win of the year. Sadly, he's out of the overall fight after mechanical issues early on.
I feel really good. You know, I needed this for myself and obviously for the team as well. So I needed to finish on top today. It was important to go into rest day with a bit of confidence, and yeah, hopefully next week we can get some more of these. And it's a good feeling to be back on top. The team definitely belongs there. The bike belongs there. So I'm really happy with how today went.
In the quads, today it should have been the turn of Lasvaidas Kancius to top the timesheets. The Lithuanian rider was untouchable for the first 200 kilometres but dropped 8 minutes in the following 50. That handed the lead of the stage to Manuel Andiar, and despite this minor fall, the Argentinian got back up and went on to make it back-to-back stage wins. Alexander Giraud, though, second fastest today, and he remains firmly in the overall lead. The cars now, and with pretty much nothing to lose after a dismal few days for Audi, Carlos Sainz was leaving nothing on the shelf. He led the stage from start to finish, and it looked like some pride had been restored with a win today. But news came following the finish line that he'd been slapped with a penalty and he was demoted to third. Sebastian Loeb spent last night in a pop-up tent, and once he'd figured out how to put the thing up, he obviously got a half-decent night's sleep because he was bang on it today. The Frenchman quickest in his BRX Hunter. It's been a year of what could have been. Issues on day 1 and 2 cost him hours. He's already recovered to 4th overall, but he remains nearly 2 hours off the lead. Which means it's still Nasser Al-Attiyah in his Toyota Hilux leading comfortably going into the rest day. The Sandman currently on for back-to-back Dakar wins. So here are the results from today's stage. And here are the overall standings after 8 stages for the bikes, quads and cars. Cristina Gutierrez came to this year's Dakar looking for a podium finish at the very least, and on pace alone she's more than capable of that. A great start winning the prologue stage, having changed to the South Racing Run Can-Am machine for this year. So here she is to give us a closer look.
Hello guys, I'm Cristina Gutierrez and I'm going to show you our T3 Can-Am. On the side of the co-driver, it's important to see the 2 tablets. One is the principal one and the other one is secondary, just in case the first one broke or failed. The co-driver has this command to select all the values, to advance the pages, to reduce the meters or whatever. This cable is like a camelback to drink water or whatever. If you want to drink electrolytes or everything, you can do it also. Here the co-driver has some bags with tools, the gun for the tire. Now today we have sand because the stage was too sandy. to the back, we can see another interesting part. We have air. In case that one tire is very low in pressure, you can put air on it. Now we don't have tires, but normally we have 2 spare tires. If you have a puncture, you take the jack, you take the tire and the gun, and you need to do as fast as possible. We lost more or less 2-3 minutes, depends on the moment. We have this horn because you put air inside the helmet, and like this you have fresh air, and also you cannot see like fog in the screen. And that's all. I hope you enjoy my tour.
A good result for Gutierrez today, 6th in the stage, and she remains 5th overall in the T3 lightweight class. Meanwhile, overall leader Guillaume de Mavius continues to sit at the top of the standings, but his lead has been slashed today. He finished over 8 minutes off the pace, which means last year's winner Austin Jones has closed the gap right up. It's game on going into week 2. Having come so close a few times already this year, Portugal's João Ferreira finally took a stage win today. He had to work for it though, just 17 seconds clear of Francisco Lopez Contado. And in the trucks, Martin Maciek wrapped up his 4th stage win of 2023 in his Iveco. After disaster on stage 2, dropping nearly an hour and a half, the Czech driver is slowly dragging himself back into contention, now just under 40 minutes off the overall lead, which continues to be held by Ale Lapre in the Praga. So this is how things stacked up today in the lightweights and trucks. And this is how it all looks overall. And so week 1 comes to an end. Everyone agrees this has been the toughest start to a Dakar in decades. Tomorrow it's the rest day, but Dakar Daily is going nowhere. We'll catch up with the leaders and bring you all the best stories and action from this first week's racing. And what a week it has been. Stage 9, and after the rest day it's all go again as the 2023 Dakar Rally enters week 2. We leave Riyadh behind and continue the journey east, and it's a very different type of test today. The competitors heading into the wet wadis and canyons, making navigation a real test. Following that, it's what seems like non-stop dunes, bringing everyone into Harad, 686 kilometres in total and 358 of race action. Kicking off, as always, with the bikes, and Luciano Benavides took the stage win today for Husqvarna. Toby Price started strong and was leading. His navigation was spot on, while other early riders got lost around him. Pricey then backed off towards the end to finish second, but his strategy has been bang perfect, and he's well in the fight for overall victory. It was a bad day though for Mason Klein. He was just 13 seconds off the overall lead, but today he came off the bike heavily and lost his roadbook, dropping 20 minutes. While Luciano Benavides won the stage on the Husqvarna, Skylar Howes leads the rally on his, but by just 3 seconds from Toby Price. Is game on, and the Australian is up for the fight.
Yeah, body feels good, bike's good, so yeah, all in all, the first week's been good for us. Today started off well for the second week, and we've got plenty more kilometres to do yet, but we'll wait and see.
In the quads, Las Vegas Cancias finally hit the top spot after coming so close on stage 8. The Lithuanian won the stage, and it was a convincing win as well, nearly 4.5 minutes clear of Francisco Marino Flores. Class leader Alexander Giraud easing himself into week 2. The Frenchman not wanting to risk anything, and with such a commanding overall lead, he finished 5th today. It all kicked off in the cars. Carlos Sainz rolled his Audi RSQ e-tron just 6 kilometres into the stage. El Matador, as he is known, was already pushing through the pain barrier after his stage 6 crash, and today came as close as he has done to stopping. After some discussion on whether or not he should continue, he decided to wait for the assistance truck. But with no result on the cards for Audi, this year's Dakar has just become a testing session. Second place Henk Lattegen also hit trouble today. He ripped the suspension off his Toyota Hilux and had Yazid Al-Raji to thank for getting going again. The Saudi man stopped and gave Lattegen the parts he needed off his own Toyota Hilux to get him back into the stage. Lattegen slips to 4th overall. Instead, a stage win for Sebastian Loeb, leading home a 1-2-3 for the ProDrive Hunters, with Vaidotas Zala 2nd and Guilain Shishiri in 3rd. And with Lattegen in trouble, Loeb moves up to 3rd overall, just 22 minutes behind Dakar rookie Lucas Moraes in his Toyota.
It was a good stage for us. We were a bit lost in some place, in some, I think, very complicated waypoints. The lines of the motorbike were wrong, so we had to turn around and to search for them. We had a good stage, lost 5-7 minutes maybe in the navigation, but I think it was difficult. We could lose much more.
Up front though, it remains Nasser Al-Attiyah, and it's looking like his rally to win now. Here are the results from today's stage. And here are the overall standings from the bikes, quads and cars. Daniel Sanders, aka Chucky, is a big personality in the bivouac, and this good time Aussie also happens to be one of the best rally raid riders on the planet. After an injury-filled 2022, he was lucky to even be at this year's Dakar. He actually needs surgery on his right arm, but wants to wait until the race is over. He's a tough old bruiser, so here is 60 seconds with Daniel Sanders.
Oh, I don't even know on that one. I like both. All right, yeah, both. 2. Oh, motorhome. Petrol. Petrol. Duct tape. Ride. Saudi. Cars. Gas. Trust the mechanic. Oh, I'll go teeth.
Mate, you got the other for a minute. Oh no, you got a fairly good head of hair on this thing.
Yeah, go on, pump the rake. Oh, I like a bit of both. I like late night out though, it's good fun. Chin to the tin, mate, get it done.
In the lightweight class today, Mitch Guthrie played swapsies for the lead with Guillaume de Mavius for most of the stage. But it was David Zeal who put in a mega second half to take his first stage win of this year's rally. Nevertheless, a good day for de Mavius. He extended his advantage over second place Austin Jones to nearly 13 minutes. In the trucks, Martin Maciek was in the process of making the ultimate comeback, but found himself at a standstill for 53 minutes today, and that pretty much brings his fight for a Dakar win to an end. Not much better for Martin van den Brink, who was also stopped for 40 minutes, suffering a major blow to his challenge. That left Jannes van Kasteren clear to take the stage win today. He lies second overall, but it remains Alain Lepre who leads overall in the class. So here are today's stage results from the lightweights and trucks. And here are the overall standings for both categories. Nasser Al-Attiyah has so far had a dream Dakar rally. The Qatari has been banging in top 5 times consistently and finds himself with a lead of well over an hour. But today, Sebastian Loeb was the man who was setting the pace, and that made for an interesting end-of-stage chat between the two. Listen for the line, "Sorry for overtaking you twice."
Oh, yeah, it's not easy. Sorry to take you 2 times because it's good for me.
I feel like stupid when I was you the first time and then I turned around.
It's good. No, it's good. I respect it.
Five stages left to run, and it's never been closer in the bike category. 3 seconds separate Skylar Howes and Toby Price. Tomorrow it's a sprint stage, 114 kilometres of racing to complete, and the only way is flat out. Now, if you haven't had your fill of Dakar with our daily show, go check out the behind-the-scenes Dakar stories on Red Bull TV, and also available an in-depth look at the life of the legend Carlos Sainz in the Live to Compete series. We're done for today. Tomorrow it's on to Scheiber. We'll see you there. The Dakar Rally continues the adventure east across the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the dunes out here take no prisoners. After 6,377 kilometres travelling from Sea Camp on the west side of the country, Skylar Howes and Toby Price find themselves separated by just 3 seconds. At this stage of the rally, that is unheard of. 622 kilometres in total today, but it's a short super special on the run into Scheiber. Just 114 kilometres of race action to give the competitors a taste of things to come before they head deep into the empty quarter. All eyes were on the fight between Skylar Howes and Toby Price. It's a game of strategy now, and this one has all the hallmarks of going down to the wire in Dammam. They were amongst the first into the stage, but both navigated well. Ross Branch, meanwhile, started 19th on the Hero and made the most of his later start position. Following the lines from others, he was able to concentrate on riding fast and hard, and as a result, he went quickest today, 21 seconds clear of Adrian van Beveren.
That was fun. A long liaison, 460 Ks this morning. I just wanted to get on the bike and ride, and going into the dunes I was having so much fun. It took me a little bit of time to get going. I was a bit slow off the start, but I had fun. Really happy with the stage win again, and now we just take the rest of the week and have some fun and enjoy the dunes.
But the big gain was made by Kevin Benavides. Making his move on today's sprint, he went 4th fastest, while leaders Skylar Howes and Toby Price finished over 8 minutes further back. That means, as anticipated, the bike race has been blown wide open. It's now a 3-way fight, Benavides leading overall from Howes in 2nd and Price in 3rd. In the quads, today's action was dominated by Marcelo Medeiros. It's not been the easiest of rallies for the Brazilian. He's been plagued with mechanical issues, but today he was flying and went over a minute faster than second-placed Manuel Andujar. In the fight for the overall victory, Alexandre Giraud is over an hour clear and looks set to take his 2nd consecutive Dakar win. But Andujar remains on a big push to try and catch Francisco Marino Flores for 2nd place. It was another good day for Sebastian Loeb in the cars. His 3rd consecutive stage victory has left us all rueing what could have been had he not lost over 2 hours on the first couple of days. The Frenchman in the Pro Drive Hunter would have been right in the fight with Nasser Al-Attiyah.
It was a good stage for us, no mistake, no problems.
only dunes for more than 100 kilometers, so it's quite long, quite demanding. But okay, the feeling was good with the car. I tried to make it well. We were first on the track, but we had motorbike tracks. It was okay, I think. No troubles.
Instead, it's Dakar rookie Lucas Moraes in his Toyota Hilux who's being hunted by Loeb. What a rally it has been for Lucas. He arrived in Saudi Arabia just hoping for a finish. A top 15 would have been a bonus. Instead, he finds himself fighting for second overall with a 9 times World Rally champion. Up front though, Nasser Al-Attiyah continues on his quest to make it back-to-back Dakar victories. So here are today's results from the bikes, quads and cars. And here are the overall standings after 10 stages. The Dakar Rally has so much history and heritage. And while it now represents the pinnacle of technology in motorsport, it hasn't forgotten its roots. The Classic class is not a flat-out race against the clock, it's a regularity race which is based on point-to-point average speed. But the best thing about the Classics? The cars. It's Juan Moreira in his Toyota Land Cruiser who's currently leading the Classics class. But for everyone here, the goal is simply to finish and enjoy the adventure of a lifetime. Back to full speed with the T3 lightweight class, and Seth Quintero took the stage win today. A small consolation for him, he remains on course for third overall. Your leader though, Guillaume de Mavius, was over 9 minutes off Quintero's pace, but that wasn't his problem. Austin Jones absolutely sent it today and has closed the gap back to under 8 minutes. Like the bikes, this one looks set to go all the way to the finish line. And finally, in the trucks, sadly Alain Lepre retired from this year's Dakar Rally, and as a result, it's now Janus van Kasteren who leads the class overall from Martin van den Brink. Today though, Pascal Debar in his Renault won the stage. It marks his first win of the year, 22 seconds clear of Mitchell van den Brink. So here are the final results from today's stage. And here are the overall standings for the lightweights and trucks. This year's rally has given us some unbelievable pictures, but after the recent rain in Saudi Arabia, the wadis in yesterday's stage had filled up nicely, and while it made life difficult, especially for the trucks, it gave us some awesome shots. So enjoy just a handful of these Dakar machines doing what they were made to do. It's game on in the bikes, and despite the intense competition, Skylar Howes is still having fun out there. Tomorrow, the riders and drivers head deep into the empty quarter. It's one of the largest expanses of desert in the world, and adding to the challenge, it's a marathon stage. That means the teams stay here in Shaibar while the competitors stay alone in the empty quarter tomorrow night after racing. Any damage they pick up on their vehicle, they must fix themselves. Don't forget to check out Dakar Stories. It's also available on Red Bull TV, and we'll be back with more Dakar Daily tomorrow.
You can run, but you can't hide. Don't fight it, just be there. One chance, you got one life. Don't fight it, just be there. I'm going over the edge. With the pedal to the metal, rubber to the track. Will you bet your life that it all out back? I want everything, everything. Hell yes, no less than everything.
Just 4 stages remain in this year's Dakar Rally, and the organisers have saved the best for last. The marathon stage today is combined with the toughest conditions we've seen so far. The competitors heading deep into the empty quarter, and it's called that for a reason. This joint is the largest uninterrupted expanse of desert on the planet. It's 40,000 square miles larger than France. In other words, it's a great place to go for a bit of peace and quiet. That is, until this lot turn up. The marathon stage means the teams stay here in Scheiber and the riders and drivers have no support tonight in the empty quarter. They must look after their machine today. Any damage they pick up, they have to fix themselves. That's assuming, of course, they've got the spare parts. And this is what lies in store. Stage 11 and 424 kilometres in total, 273 of which is flat-out racing over the dunes. And in the bikes and lightweight categories, it's game on. It was Kevin Benavides who made the big gains yesterday to drag himself to the top of the standings. But he dropped over 6 minutes today and now lies third overall. It was his brother Luciano Benavides who took another stage win on his Husqvarna, over a minute and a half up on Daniel Sanders in second. They are both running 6th and 7th in the overall standings. The game of cat and mouse between Skylar Howes and Toby Price continues. These two were at it again. Price was the quicker of the two, but only by 13 seconds, which means Howes now leads, but the gap is just 28 seconds.
I don't know exactly what the standings are so far, but all I do know is that definitely it's going to be close, and there wasn't much separating us out today. I know the times are definitely super close out there today, so all it's going to do is be tight going all the way into the finish, which is super exciting.
It looks like, yeah, we're still within contention and where we need to be, and bike's in good condition, so yeah, all in all, it's been a good day.
Big news in the quads. Manuel Andayar, the 2021 winner of the Dakar, has suffered various mechanical setbacks this year, but the Argentinian refused to give up and was always fighting back. Today, though, his Yamaha had other ideas. It let go permanently and he is retired from this year's rally. Instead, Marcelo Medeiros made it 2 stage wins from 2. The Brazilian has stepped it up a gear and the dune riding suits his style. He went 6 minutes quicker than Alexander Giraud, who continues to lead overall. And with Andayar out, it's even less pressure on the Frenchman's shoulders. He's nearly an hour and a half out in front, but there is still 1,500 kilometres to run. Sebastian Loeb made it 4 straight stage wins in the Pro Drive Hunter. The first time since 2009 that someone has done that in the cars category. The Frenchman was flying over the dunes today, pushing hard to try and catch Lucas Moraes for 2nd overall. Lucas is a Dakar rookie and he hasn't won a single stage this year, but he's the perfect example of what consistent driving and staying out of trouble rewards you with. Currently 2nd and 9 minutes clear of Loeb.
Yeah, great to finish the 11th stage today. Quite tricky one, some tricky climbs to do, but we are still P2 overall, so let's try to keep pushing and see how Loeb will react.
The sole remaining Audi of Matthias Ekstrom went 3rd fastest today. There's no questioning the pace of the RSQ e-tron, but it has just not been Audi's year. Nasser Al-Attiyah, meanwhile, continues to lead in the Toyota Hilux. If you could write a dream Dakar, this would pretty much be it for the Qatari driver. He's 80 minutes clear out in front. So here are today's results from the bikes, quads and cars. And with just 3 stages remaining, here are the overall standings. The rules for the marathon stage state that the teams are not allowed to join the riders and drivers at the bivouac. And for the most part, everyone arrived at the empty quarter today without issue. But that doesn't mean there's nothing to do. Matthias Ekström and co-driver Emil Bergqvist began going through the checklist of things to do on the Audi before they go racing again tomorrow.
Call the team boss and tell that everything is okay. I think they wonder what we do now. I think they know that we are at the end of the stage, but just to tell them we have no problem.
Fortunately, the only issue they found was Emil's hydration system had stopped working. It was an easy enough fix and the car was sealed in Parc Fermé where it cannot be touched again until the morning. The next job, get the tents up and get some sleep. Back out in the dunes, and the one stage where you don't want things to go wrong is the marathon stage. But that is exactly what has happened to Guillaume de Mavius in the lightweight class. He's been leading since stage 5, but today he dropped over an hour and a half and his chances of victory are gone. That promotes Austin Jones into the lead, just under an hour clear of Seth Quintero, who moves up to second.
The stage was really good for me today. I struggled a little bit yesterday in the dunes, so I was, kind of not looking forward to today, but, today we got into a really good rhythm. We made a couple changes on the car, and I think it really helped. We got a nice flow going on today. I think the stage was a little bit nicer as far as flow goes, so I'm super happy. I don't have any results because we don't have any service out here, but I think we did okay.
While it's the Red Bull Can-Ams out front overall, today the Yamahas dominated the stage race, with Ricardo Porem leading home a 1-2-3 for the manufacturer. In the trucks, Martin van den Brink won today's stage comfortably from Martin Maciek. But overall leader Janus van Kasteren was over 20 minutes off the pace, and that has brought Van den Brink right back into the fight. With just 3 stages left to run on this year's Dakar, they're separated by just 1 minute and 12 seconds. It's been a hell of a day for the lightweights and trucks. Here are the results from today's stage. And the overall standings after 11 stages. And how's this for a moment of the day? Estonia's Uvar Manama got it all wrong in his Hilux. Fortunately, there was a single fan, and what he was doing out in the middle of nowhere, we have no idea, who was on hand with his Ford F-150 to pull the Toyota back up onto all fours. Heartbreak for Guillaume de Mavius today in the T3 lightweight class. While in the bikes and trucks, it looks set to be a sprint to the finish. Howes versus Price and Van Kasteren versus Van den Brink. Tomorrow the competitors make their way back through the empty quarter to the bivouac here in Scheibar. And if the last 2 days have been anything to go by, the rally will turn on its head once again. Don't forget to check out Carlos Sainz Live to Compete. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow for another dose of Dakar Daily. After a night in the empty quarter with no team support, another epic day in the desert awaits. The race back through the world's largest expanse of uninterrupted desert, and the one thing you don't want to do is get lost out here. Clear the hundreds of kilometres of dunes successfully, and the competitors will be greeted once again by their teams here in the Shobar Bivouac. Stage 12, and while it marks the shortest day of the entire rally, it's no less challenging. 373 kilometres in total, 185 of which make up special stage. And with just 3 stages remaining, every single second lost could be the difference between winning and losing this year's Dakar, particularly in the bike category. Skylar Howes and Toby Price separated by just 28 seconds coming into today. These two have been fighting over the lead for the last 5 stages, and it's looking like it will go all the way to the final timing beacon in Dammam. Pricey made his move today, the Australian going 3rd fastest, ending the stage 56 seconds quicker than Howes, who finished 6th. So, in a straight position swap, it's Price who now leads overall by 28 seconds.
Yeah, all in all, it's been a good day. We just try to keep a good, smooth, consistent pace, and I think, trying to have a strategy for the race at this point in time, it's completely out the window. So then again, you don't want to push too crazy and risk an injury or being out of the race completely this close to the finish line.
Today's stage winner, though, was Jose Ignacio Corneo Florimo on the Honda. His first stage win of this year's rally, and he remains inside the top 10 overall. While Daniel Sanders, still recovering from an arm injury, went 2nd fastest ahead of Price. All eyes, though, are on the fight at the front. It's Skylar Howes versus Toby Price. In the quads, Marcelo Medeiros continued his run of stage wins. Another today makes it 3 on the trot. Great pace from the Brazilian out in the dunes. A tough first week plagued with mechanical problems ended any chance of fighting for an overall win. But there's no question the pace has been there this year. Class leader Alexandre Giraud had the worst stage of his rally so far. 41 minutes lost, and he's picked up an engine issue. Will his engine hang on? It's been an emotional day for the Frenchman.
The stage is very hard for me. I have a problem with my engine. I hope to finish, and I finish is very crazy. And I hope to finish the liaison maintenant, but the day is more hard this day.
Sebastian Loeb's record-breaking run of stage wins in the cars continued today in the ProDrive Hunter. Another victory makes it 5 in a row. He went over 3 minutes faster than Matthias Ekstrom, who finished 2nd in the Audi. But more importantly than that, he went 11.5 minutes quicker than Lucas Moraes, which means Loeb now moves up into 2nd place overall. Moraes drops to 3rd, but let's not underestimate how good he has been this year. It's only his first Dakar, and he came here with the aim simply to finish. With nearly an hour back to 4th place, barring a crash or mechanical failure, Lucas looks set for a podium.
Today my lack of experience in the dunes was clear. But we managed, we finished the marathon stage, I don't know in which position, but yeah, tough one. Dakar keeps surprising us, but we managed, we're here, and let's see if we can still hold the podium.
Out in front though, and now cruising towards the finish line, taking no risks, it remains Nasser Al-Attiyah. His lead nearly 90 minutes over Sebastian Loeb.
It's good. We finish 2 days in marathon day, and just we need to really keep our car in one piece. And for us, just if we finish top 5 every day will be good, because we have a good lead. And just keep going like this will be good.
Another tough day in the sand. Here are the standings after stage 12. And with just 2 stages remaining, this is how things look overall. Nasser Al-Attiyah has competed at the highest level in everything 4 wheels and off-road. from the World Rally Championship to Rally Raid. After 4 Dakar wins already, the last one coming this time last year, the Qatari is now on the verge of making it 2 in a row and 5 in total. And that would make him the second most successful driver in the car category ever. He's a good lad, so here are 60 seconds with Nasser Al-Attiyah.
Sand. 4-wheel. Tent. Petrol. Cable tie. Right. Saudi Arabia. Cars. Cars. W2RC. I trust my mechanic. Big night out. Slow and steady.
Like Nasser Al-Attiyah, Austin Jones in the lightweight class has a commanding lead after the demise of Guillaume de Mavius yesterday. Jones going 5th fastest today. His job now is to look after the Can-Am and get it to the finish safely. De Mavius hasn't given up the fight for second overall though. He went 11 minutes quicker than Seth Quintero, and with 2 stages left, just 20 minutes stand between them, De Mavius keeping the pressure on. But it was Mitch Guthrie who was your stage winner today, another man who would have been right in the overall fight if he hadn't had week 1 issues. Today marks his 4th stage win of this year's rally.
Yeah, perfect day. The car was awesome. Kellen did a great job navigating, especially when you're in the dunes, starting that far back, you have lines going every which way. So we had to really work together today. Car was great, pace was good, and I knew that we could do it. So we just kind of sent it today and did our best, and here we are.
In the trucks, Janus van Kasteren extended his overall lead by taking another stage win, his 3rd of the year. And with Martin van den Brink over 30 minutes slower, it's also taken the pressure off Van Kasteren for the overall win. His lead now stands at over 30 minutes. So this is how things finished in today's stage. And this is how things stack up overall after 12 stages. Before we go, check this out for some raw racing. This is Luciano Benavides and Daniel Sanders getting stuck in today. Benavides not mucking about, sticking the front wheel up in the air and keeping it wide open to pass Sanders. These two carried on like this throughout the entire stage. Proper desert racing. Tomorrow is a massive day in the bikes. Toby Price starts 3rd, Howes starts 6th. Price must nail his navigation. If he can do that and keep Howes at bay, then he's in the hot seat for the win this year. Howes, meanwhile, has a better start position, but he trails overall by 28 seconds. It's anyone's guess. This has been the best and closest fight we've seen at the Dakar Rally in decades. Don't forget to go and check out Dakar Stories, available on Red Bull TV, for a behind-the-scenes look at Daniel Sanders' rally. And with just 2 stages remaining, Dakar Daily returns tomorrow with all the action from stage 13 and the penultimate of this year's rally. The penultimate stage of what has been an epic Dakar rally. This 45th edition has had it all. Some are on the verge of making history, while others are having to fight for it. And the beauty of it, we aren't done yet. 2 more days of hard racing still to run. A long old test today, stage 13, and we leave the empty quarter behind and head north to Al Hofuf. 673 kilometres in total, 153 of which are what really matter. That is your race distance. Toby Price and Skylar Howes. After stage 9, these two were separated by just 3 seconds, and 5 stages later, they're still at it. Price coming into today leading Howes overall by 28 seconds, but starting 3rd on the road, while Howes had the better start position in 6th. The pressure was on Price to nail his navigation. By kilometre 78, the Australian was exactly where he needed to be and had actually extended his overall lead. By the finish line, he'd built himself an advantage of well over a minute.
The last lot of dunes have been really soft. Yeah, kind of like really hard, and you can get stuck very easily. I just thought to myself, if I want to win this race, I need to be at the front and try and capture that bonus time a little bit. And it feels like I made an absolute mess of it today, but if I can keep the lead, I'll be one happy man.
But there's a twist. Further back in the stage, Matthias Volkner crashed and is sadly out of this year's Dakar, and KTM teammate Kevin Benavides stayed with him until the medical crews arrived. After nearly 25 minutes stationary with other bikes coming past leaving tracks, Benavides got going again and was able to concentrate on riding hard and fast. He went on to win the stage, and you could not write it. Going into the final day, Price leads by just 12 seconds from Benavides, with Howes 3rd. It's simple. Tomorrow, it's a single stage sprint between all 3 riders. In the quads, Marcelo Medeiros continues his spectacular run of stage wins. The Brazilian is unstoppable at the moment, 4 in a row now, crossing the line over a minute and a half clear of Giovanni Enrico. Medeiros getting the job done. Overall leader Alexandre Giraud nursing his Yamaha engine to the finish after a scare yesterday. He went 5th quickest today, his lead now down to 40 minutes. But assuming his quad holds together, it will be a well-deserved back-to-back victory for Giraud.
Today is good day, lot of dune and sand. I have to be careful because you can do a big mistake, but for me it's a good day. I'm very happy to finish this day.
Sebastian Loeb came into today with 5 stage wins in a row in the car category. The only other person who's done that in the history of the sport was Ari Vatanen in 1989. If Loeb could notch up another one today, he would break a motorsport rallying record. He started strong. By 78 kilometres, he was well out in front. And inevitably, he hung on in the ProDrive Hunter to take the stage win. That's 6 in a row and a new Dakar record.
It was a very difficult day. At the end, it seems that it was a good day for me. I tried as hard as possible, and the stage was really difficult. The visibility was really bad in some places, so it was tricky to pass all the dunes. It was some difficult and soft ones, so we made a good stage.
While Loeb is now comfortably in 2nd place ahead of rookie Lucas Moraes, it remains Nasser Al-Attiyah out in front. He went 2nd fastest today, and with just 1 stage remaining, another Dakar victory is starting to look like a foregone conclusion for the Qatari. Here are the results from today's stage. And with just 1 stage remaining, this is how things stack up overall. We haven't seen much of Lucas Moraes in this year's Dakar Daily, but for us, regardless of what happens tomorrow in the final stage, he is our driver of the year. This is his first ever Dakar, and he's been inside the top 3 overall since stage 6. That is a phenomenal performance, and the Brazilian has won the respect of the best drivers and co-drivers in the world.
Very impressive what you're doing.
Thank you. No, you guys too.
Yeah, but we have more experience. You don't.
No, sure, but thank you. It's really an honor for me to be racing with you. To be honest, I never thought we'd be able to ever do a Dakar because we are in Brazil. We have our own championship there. We have the race there. That is Sertões. It's one of the biggest in the world as well. But after I won the race 2 times, I started thinking, yeah, what's the next thing, right? And of course, Dakar always have been in my mind. Nasser played a big role in this for sure. He really has been a great mentor to me. We met for the first time in Spain in the Baja World Cups, and to be him helping me and pushing to do Dakar, it was really amazing. It's not my time, I believe, now. I just have to keep doing what I'm doing. And to be on the podium on the first ever Dakar for me, it would be amazing.
It has been an incredible Dakar for Lucas, and this is just the start of his year. We'll find out tomorrow if he can finish on the podium at the first time of trying. In the lightweight class, Mitch Guthrie also made it back-to-back stage wins, going fastest today on the run into Al Hofuf, the American 50 seconds quicker than Ignacio Casale. In the overall fight, meanwhile, Austin Jones cruising today, only 9th fastest in the stage. But his job is not to take stage wins, it's to wrap up another Dakar title. And with a lead of over 50 minutes back to Seth Quintero, he doesn't need to take any risks at all.
The stage was pretty good. I think that honestly, out of every single stage we've ran so far, that was probably the hardest one, honestly. So it was tough. The sun was in a bad spot for the first entire half of it, so it was really hard to see in the dunes. But, you know, we just cruised, didn't do anything crazy, so I'm not sure what our position is, but it can't be too high. But that's perfect for us. We're happy.
Disaster for Martin van den Brink in the truck category. The Dutchman was in the fight for the overall lead, but stopped today for over an hour with a mechanical failure on his Iveco. That promoted early Dakar leader Martin Maciek back up into 2nd place, but it's Jannes van Kasteren who leads the class overall, and with an hour and a bit in hand, tomorrow should be a cruisy drive to Dakar victory.
I drove really slow because I just need to defend my first place, and then I was stuck one time on the dune and Martin Maciek passed me. Then we took him back at a waypoint which he missed. Overall, a good day for me and up to the victory.
So here are today's results from the lightweight and truck categories. And here are the overall standings. One day, one stage remains. That's it. In the bikes, it's Price versus Benavides. 12 seconds is all that separates them. Tomorrow, it's a sprint to the finish. 136 kilometres of flat-out racing. Nasser Al-Attiyah looks set to cruise to another victory in the car category, as does Jannes van Kasteren in the trucks. But this is the Dakar Rally. And as we've seen over the past 2 weeks, it bites, and it bites hard. Don't forget to check out Dakar Stories available on Red Bull TV, and we'll be back tomorrow at the finish line in Dammam to wrap up this year's Dakar Rally. Of racing comes to an end today. 8,875 kilometres covered across the toughest terrain that Saudi Arabia has to offer. 5 champions will be crowned winner of the most prestigious off-road race in the world. And just 136 kilometres of sand racing along the eastern coast of the country stand between the remaining competitors and the finish line in Dammam. And while 4 of the categories look all but wrapped up, in the bikes, it remains wide open.
It's come down to the wire. It's been a huge battle, and be the one that means the most.
It means everything. I train all the year for this. I will need to push until the last meter.
12 seconds. That's it. 8,469 kilometres covered so far, and 12 seconds separate Toby Price and Kevin Benavides. Price chasing his 3rd Dakar title, Benavides chasing his 2nd. Neither could afford to leave anything on the shelf today. After the first 33 kilometres, Benavides was quicker, but to add another twist to this spectacular race, he was quicker by exactly 12 seconds, and that meant, unbelievably, they were both on exactly the same race time. Further up the road, Skylar Howes, who led much of this year's Dakar but slipped away after yesterday's stage, has had a mega year, marking his first Dakar podium to finish 3rd. The fight for the victory, though, raged on. By kilometre 102, Benavides was just over a minute up on Price. The Australian responded to bring the gap down to 55 seconds, but it wasn't enough, and he had run out of road. After the closest finish in decades, this one will go down in history as one of the very best Dakars. Kevin Benavides, your 2023 winner in the bike category.
When I was younger, I always looked Toby, and he's an amazing rider, and I knew that he also can push today. So I really did my 110% all the time, and so I am so happy to be here. The level right now in the Dakar is so high, so it's a lot of riders that have a really good speed. So I am really, really happy for this moment.
The quads this year started out with a head-to-head race between 2 titans of the category. 2021 winner Manuel Andayar and 2022 winner Alexandre Giraud. Andayar started well, but sadly he retired on stage 11. Giraud, meanwhile, was also in trouble and lucky to make it to the end of 12 after his engine started misfiring. But after nursing his Yamaha to the end, the Frenchman got the hard work done, hanging on to claim back-to-back Dakar wins.
It's a crazy day today. Win 2 times the Dakar it's a very special moment. The second week is very more long for me because concurrent push hard, but I'm very happy to finish and to win for the second time.
The cars this year has given us the perfect example of why consistency and making it safely to the end of every stage is what counts. Sebastian Loeb and his Pro-Drive Hunter lost 2 hours right at the start of the rally, and since then he has been fighting back. He's won more stages than anyone else in the class, 7 in total, but this year he must settle for 2nd place. Lucas Moraes, meanwhile, on his first ever attempt at the Dakar, has been nothing short of phenomenal. Remember the name, because this Brazilian is going places. He ran most of this year's rally in the runner-up spot, only dropping behind Loeb to 3rd on stage 12. But as we said, consistency is the key to success. And Nasser Al-Attiyah and his Toyota have been exactly that. His Hilux has been 100% reliable the last 2 weeks, and Nasser has known exactly when to push and when to back off. By stage 7, he had a lead of over an hour, and he converted that into consecutive Dakar wins. He now has 5 in total.
To win back-to-back, is a really great feeling, When we came here, we tried to defend our title, and to be strong, and this is what happened. We worked very hard during 8 days, me and Matthew and the team, and we make the lead, and after, we control everything, and we bring everything here to home, the victory, We are so happy and thankful for all the support.
So here are the results from today's stage. And here are the overall results from the bikes, quads and cars. In the lightweight class, Francisco Lopez Contado took the early lead, but who remembers these shots from stage 3? That river crossing ended his chance of another title. Seth Quintero then briefly held the overall lead before he lost a wheel on the Can-Am and ran out of fuel on stage 4. Mitch Guthrie, who's won more stages than anyone else in the class, took the lead before stopping on stage 5. That left Guillaume de Mavius at the top, right up until he too had a mechanical on stage 11. Which means last year's winner, Austin Jones, was there to pick up the pieces. The American has been flawless all rally, and he takes back-to-back Dakar wins.
The hardest, longest rally that I've ever done, by far. We just stuck to our plan, stayed consistent. My navigator, Gustavo, did a great job. The entire team did a great job giving me a good car and just keeping everything good, and yeah, here we are.
And finally, it has been a mega race in the truck category this year. After 5 lead changes over the course of the race, it was the Flying Dutchman Janus van Kasteren who eventually took a commanding win, marking his first Dakar victory.
My crew, Marcel, Darek, the best I can wish. So yeah, so happy that I won Dakar. This is the biggest thing I can win.
Here are your lightweight and truck stage 14 winners. And the overall results from this year's rally. So, that brings this year's Dakar and Dakar Daily to an end. Congratulations to all our winners and to everyone who simply made it to the finish line. That, after all, is what the Dakar is all about. Thanks for joining us on the adventure, and don't forget to check out all the other content on Red Bull TV. Bye for now.